Hello and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident returning anti-hero of the pod, DL. How are you, mate?
I am good.
Return from the grave, I see.
Return from the grave.
You look great.
Between the two of us, there's a murder of crows. No, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Crow. Can't stop.
I knew it was coming.
Can't stop, won't stop. Mate, you look great for a dead man.
Thank you. It must be my makeup. Really brings out the skin. I'm not convinced he's an anti-hero. We'll get into it.
We're going to talk about it. How are you, mate? How's it going?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. Just living life. Every week that goes by
Living La Vida Loca, some might say.
Yes. Every week that goes by is one more week closer to...
Well, this is in that weird middle stage. So right now, you might even be married by now.
I maybe.
Who knows?
Depends on who. Depends on what state you're in, what country, and all that. But
so for people who aren't aware, these are a couple of pre-recorded episodes, the ones that are coming out while both my good friend and co-host here, who is getting married, and I being his wingman, what am I doing? What am I? Am I the
you're a groomsman,
the flower boy? I'm a groomsman. That's what I am. I'm a groomsman. We'll be there together. So we're taking a couple of weeks off. We're recording a couple of episodes early for you guys, and this is one of them. I'm super excited to talk about this. I've actually been wanting to talk about this since we started doing the podcast. I remember talking about this way back when.
I don't remember.
Listen to the shit episodes.
I don't remember. And even when you kept saying the crow, I was like,
You're like
what is it? I thought I knew what it was. I thought it was a horror movie. Yeah, we've had a couple of sakis, so
yeah, of course,
things might be a little bit more
loose today.
I thought I knew this movie, but I thought it was a horror movie, but it's not.
It's got horror elements.
It has elements, but I thought it was a full-on horror movie.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. The reason we're going to talk about it out there, fantastic folks, is because there is a reboot of The Crow coming out this very year with one of the many Skarsgårds there are out there, and the internet is losing their shit about this. So I don't know how much you've seen about this or how much you know, but effectively it's one of those films it's got like cult classic status. So people love this 1994 version. Yeah. So much so that a new trailer comes out for a new version. Yeah, it's a rebootuation or a reboot or whatever it is, and people are losing their shit. They hate it. It's like one of the most downvoted trailers on YouTube.
I actually thought that trailer was cool.
I like the look of it too.
And it looks like they're trying to be just as into their emo selves as the last one. It does feel like,
and it's the most
in the
emo,
same vein.
Yeah, it's the most emo graphic novels I've ever seen in my entire life.
Which Skarsgård is it? Is it the ugly one?
Bill. He's not ugly. Come on, he's not ugly. He's massive in this trailer.
Well, to be fair, I say that, but the trailer, he actually looked kind of cool.
I think he's...
I'm not gonna lie.
I think he's
there's the one that plays the... Yeah, he's creepy in that.
He's definitely creepy in that.
I can call him ugly.
He's creepy enough in this, I gotta say. But I think the thing I find most... so we're going to talk about this when we get to the actual talking about the film. I think the thing I find most interesting about these is what's happened around them. So the one we're going to talk about has so much interesting shit in the background, whereas this new upcoming one, which we both watched the trailer for before we started, it's been through so many iterations, including for a long time it had favorite of the show Aquaman himself, Big J-Mo, as apparently going to be the leading man, as going to be the Crow himself. Can you imagine that?
Jason Momoa?
Yeah.
No.
I feel like he's too big.
Way too big.
And too tan.
Too tan.
Yeah. He needs to be less tan.
If he actually was the Crow, he would be white facing. And I would be offended because that is not cool.
Well,
I actually wouldn't care. But my point being, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
Not at all.
You can't be that tan and good looking and be emo. What are you emo about?
Brandon Lee, if you ever see him IRL, he is definitely a good looking man. He's not that tan. He's not that tan. Okay, right? He's not that tan.
You can be good looking and emo. You can't be tan and good looking.
Interesting.
I think that doesn't fit the bill.
Well, I think the thing that makes me most I laugh the most about the internet losing their mind about this is that this is just another take on the graphic novels. And if you ever watch watch or read, I say, the graphic novels, there are actually lots of different folks who take on the Crow mantle. So there are different personalities that have that. There is the obvious original, the four comic run, I think it is, that has, it is the one everybody loves and kind of remembers. But other people have taken on the Crow since. It's not necessarily just this one guy. But anyway, dear, I'm talking too much about the Crow here. How are you? What's happening?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. We are, we had a good little steak, delicious steak.
I was loving
some good sake before this little podcast, and now we are having a whiskey. So we've had quite a little preamble.
We're doing all right.
Yeah, before this episode.
And we're back in the room where we used to drink whiskey and do the podcast.
This is the original, the early apps.
I don't know if it was.
There was the 18 Hardy Street.
Yeah, we had a couple way back when.
My old office. This is a more upgraded office.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whenever I come back to yours, I always get like flashbacks.
Nostalgic vibes.
Nostalgic for the old times when we used to do it in the old place.
And I force you to drink. So
you do force me to drink. So last time we did one of these episodes, which I think people may have just listened to, which was Alien 3. Thank you for sticking for that. We really do appreciate it. You did a little bit of workshopping with me on your novel, but I wondered if I could throw something back at you for this one.
Oh, of course.
Because I had some thoughts recently about a thing I wanted to pursue. It's not quite in the same vein as yours.
Co-writers are appreciated.
Right. So it's just an idea.
Okay.
And it started with a very simple idea and then expanded from there in my mind. But I just want to get your take on it.
Yeah.
So you've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
What do you think?
Not where I thought this was going.
Okay, well.
But I'm even more excited.
Did you like the movie?
Did I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Yes, I like that movie.
Hilarious
it's a phenomenal movie. What is
Jason Segel?
The Dracula song?
Right.
Kill me, Van Helsing. Da, da. I don't even know what he does, but it's so funny.
I'm so glad you went straight to that because this is where I want to start.
Okay.
I want to do a collaboration with Jason Segel where we do a second story in the Dracula universe. Maybe similar vibes?
I feel like he would bite on that. And I can't believe it hasn't been made.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my initial thoughts for this were. And this was shower thoughts. Do you ever have shower thoughts? And they're always...
I follow shower thoughts on Reddit, yes.
I wrote these ones down. So my original shower thoughts were, and it started with the song from Greece, You're the One That I Want. And for some reason, when let me finish.
Dude, you're all over the place.
Let me finish. I sang it out loud for some reason in the shower.
You're the one that I want.
Yeah. But I sang it in a Transylvanian accent, so you are the one that I want. You are the one I want. Okay, right. There's your basis for this. This is where we get to.
Oh my God, dude.
Let me finish. So, Dracula and Frankenstein in this Frankenstein's monster in this movie,
is this
right?
Like Brokeback Mountain?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude.
But with the puppets, like in Sarah Marshall, and it ends with this, and the reason they're monsters (quotation marks) is because they're gay, and it's like a
that's actually really good.
It's a reflection on like society.
That's really good.
Thank you.
I think that what that is not that's not like its own. That's a sequel to Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Okay,
where that is like a core part of the plot.
I think Dracula dies at the end of his thing, though.
Well, but like he can be like born again. Yeah, like that's the whole story of Dracula. Anyway, I would say that like he has actually gotten his first deal.
Okay,
and like you follow him on the build up,
and he's trying to write this next one.
Yeah, he's like writing the play, and then there's like some other elements, and it culminates with him.
And he realizes that the characters are gay. Oh, that's perfect.
I don't know what it is, but like that is actually the pitch for Forgetting Sarah Marshall 2.
Oh my God.
And it needs to be made.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Does anybody have Jason Segel's email? Or number? I'll call.
Too Forgetting, Too Furious.
I don't know what that actually. There's a script there.
I'm telling you,
like, absolute script there.
There is. I mean, that on its own.
Jamie,
I feel like Jamie,
write us a script, dude.
We can get this. We can make this happen,
dude.
But how do we bring back in Sarah Marshall and he has to forget her again? That's the problem.
Well, the rest of the plot,
we don't have to worry about that.
But like that's easier to build.
You're the one that I want.
That will be like an iconic scene. I can actually see it, dude. That's actually the best idea you've ever had.
I'm glad you worked on that with me. We worked on that. Man. I feel like
it's all downhill from here.
It could be in a high school. It could be anything. There's so many ways this could go. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming along on that weird fantasy with me. Guys, if you want to listen to us banter about our weeks, feel free to stick around. We appreciate it when you do, but there will be time codes in the description, as always, supplied by friend of the show and editing master, Mr. Matthew Bliss of Blissery.fm. Stick around for his details at the end of the podcast. But DL, one question.
Yeah.
If you were to rate that idea on a scale of 1 to 5, how many stars might you give it?
5, and I'd 5x it by telling 5 of my friends.
Yes.
That's the way to go.
We love it if you guys would give us a 5-star rating on your podcast capture of choice. You can do it right there in app. It's right there. And even if you have done that or you don't want to do that, pass the pod. If you've got a friend who likes this kind of geeky shit, we have friends who like this geeky shit, but we give it on to them. And we would love it if you would too. DL.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I actually did some stuff this week, dude.
Oof, about time.
Yeah, it's been a bit. I've been doing the same boring stuff. No, I watched. Well, there's also just been good content out.
That has been just dropped.
Yeah,
just dropped good content.
I
think we're going to talk about
The same things.
One that's good content and one that's less good content.
For you or for me?
You're gonna get. I will
start with my. I've halfway through, or maybe 3/4 through the first episode of The Gentleman.
Okay, cool.
I keep like stopping and starting it, but I'm actually liking it so far.
So for anyone who doesn't know, The Gentleman is a TV series loosely based off the broader movie scape
of Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman.
Yes, correct.
It feels as if it's just another. It feels as if it's in the same universe,
like another installment in the same universe.
And like so far, I don't see much.
I'm down for that.
It's not like it's its own thing, but it's just using the plot of a plot piece of The Gentleman, the movie, to drive the rest. But yeah, I like the main actor, dude. I really do. He was so unlikable in what is it? That hotel show on HBO. The Black Lotus Hotel. In season 2, he's the lead. He's the lead dude, and
Theo James.
He plays the biggest dickhead, and he's like, but he plays it so well that you're like, he's a good actor. But
I tell you what, I know him from. I know him from the Divergent film, very first film.
Oh God, yeah. I never read or watched that.
Now the most interesting thing about that film series is
Tweenie, right?
Right. So they did. So I think it's.
My brother cried. Sorry, Thomas.
I think it's 4 books.
I remember he was a kid. He was like. When he finished it, I was like, "Damn, it's just a book." But I cried when Dumbledore died, so I get it.
That's all right. I cried.
But like Dumbledore's a much more like,
he's a
you
part of my
should mourn
childhood.
for that.
Yeah, right.
You know, this fucking guy.
Well, the interesting fact about that set of books is they made 3 of the 4 books into movies, and then they just ran out of steam. People stopped watching them, so they never finished the series. So there's just an unfinished set of movies out there, which
no one wanted to watch anyway.
No one wanted the final series. So
that is fine. So did she sell the rights to all of them?
I have no idea.
Probably did, and they were just like, "Well, I guess we don't care."
It's a strong cast, though. The Gentleman, by the way,
it is,
especially having Giancarlo Esposito, who's one of my favorite actors in Hollywood right now.
Who's that? Let me look that up.
He's the guy who was in Breaking Bad. He was in Far Cry.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know who he is.
You made a face then.
No.
Like, what is this?
Far Cry. I was like, no, but I remember.
He was a villain.
He's in The Boys. He's in a lot of stuff.
He's in The Boys, of course he is. That's coming back soon.
He's really good.
Oh, did you hear this week? And this is really sad, actually. So did you watch Gen V?
Yeah, that actor. Spin-off? I never watched it, but I saw
the main guy, the black guy. He died in real life.
Just like randomly?
Like 27 years old. That's all.
It's like a stroke or something.
I don't know. I don't know any more details.
When you're 27, really that's usually something like...
And he was set up for like, stardom with this. This was his like big break.
That's a bummer.
A real shame. And I thought he was really good in it too. Yeah. Such a shame. Sorry, so the gentleman.
No, you hate to see that. No, yeah, I'm watching it and he's pulling it off well. The posh British accent,
right?
Which is shocking because he was such a frat boy American in the last thing I saw him in.
Yeah, right.
That it's like I'm like, okay, like I don't actually know, is he English or is he American? I don't know. But
Vinnie Jones is in this, very famous British soccer player, as I would say, football turned semi-film star. He was, of course, in one of the X-Men films. Is probably the worst depiction of one of the Juggernaut ever. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Oh yeah, dude. I forgot about that.
He was in Lock, Stock. He was in Snatch. He's like great in those films, but he's been out of the game for a while.
What about do you know Daniel Ings?
I don't know.
I've seen him in stuff. I don't know. I don't really recall what, but he is actually quite good.
He's in the Marvels, apparently.
He's in a couple things. Like he's in The Crown. I mean, he's in a bunch of these kind of. But my point is, he's one of my favorites of this show.
Okay.
And then beyond that,
is he the guy in the chicken outfit on the picture? He's that guy.
I haven't seen that scene yet, but
that's gonna be a fun scene to watch.
He's basically. I'll give you the premise of it. I haven't even talked about the show. It's and it's not spoilers because it all happens in the first 20 minutes. You can probably see it in the trailer. He's a duke or of some sort, right?
Who is the main guy?
The main guy's dad.
Okay.
And his dad unexpectedly dies. He's serving in the British military, and so he's called back home. And the estate is supposed to go to the elder brother, but the elder brother's kind of a fuck up. And in the will, it goes to him, and it's thrust into this crazy story because of that. And there's a few elements like they're a bit in debt and they're trying to get out of it, and that's kind of like
there's always a bit of that in a Guy Ritchie plot.
For sure.
Guy Ritchie's one of my favorites, by the way.
He is my favorite. His plots are all the same, but I started,
he manages to find nuance.
I started to think about it like, do I care? You know what I mean? Do I care if it's a new characters? I like the movie. Like, do I care? I don't really care,
dude. If it's good, it's good.
And it looks good. Yeah. It's a very good looking film. Or,
just as long as he doesn't do another Madonna flick, that's fine. I don't care. Just don't do that to us.
Madonna flick.
Nobody wants that. That's awesome. Would you recommend?
I would so far. I'm only 45 minutes
episode.
in, but I would so far. I've really enjoyed the episode.
So I've been doing a thing this week that I think we've talked about numerous times on a podcast, and I maybe even come up in our most looking forward to of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm about halfway through the first series of Three Body Problem. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Three Body Problem, it's Dan and Dan. Dave and Dan.
Dave and Dan, D&D.
D&D. The
Dickhead
guys,
and Dickhead.
Yeah. Who
they'll never redeem themselves, but I will watch.
Okay.
I will watch it.
Oh. Okay, so I'm halfway through the first season. I'm bored. Like, genuinely, I was sat there last night and I'd watched the third episode and I was like, I'm going to give it one more episode.
Yeah.
I don't know how into it I am. Like, all the characters are boring.
You're halfway through, you got to do it.
I think I'll finish it.
Because it'll probably pick up. It may not be great, but it'll probably pick up. Enough people have given it good reviews.
It's got plenty of people from Game of Thrones in it. It's got Samuel Tarly, who is shit.
Really? You don't like him?
I really do not like him.
Did you never like him, or did you just not like him in this?
I liked him as Samuel Tarly.
Well, he's a fat ass that's blubbering idiot.
Yeah.
Or not idiot, actually. He's quite smart.
In this, it's the flip of
coward.
It. He's incredibly intelligent, but he's super confident and thinks
they're
he's
both
super
intelligent,
cool.
to be fair, yeah.
I don't love him in this. It's got the High Sparrow in it. He's also...
That guy's a good actor, though.
It's got a lot of people who are supposed to be scientists who are way too attractive to be scientists.
Scientists can be good looking.
Yeah, but I mean...
Because people are late
not
bloomers.
This attractive. Like, this is like...
Not the main actress attractive?
No.
She's fire.
I feel like this is so... It's got a good... I like the idea. I like the premise.
Yeah.
The execution isn't there. I feel like the writing for this show, not the book, I don't know anything about the book series, but for the show, it's quite hollow. It's a small cast. It doesn't feel expansive enough. It doesn't feel
Doesn't
like
it have
there's enough
Wong
to
in it?
Yeah.
How is he?
Did you know he's British?
In this or in general?
I think he's British in real life.
I don't believe that.
Well, he's definitely British in this.
I don't believe that one bit.
Well, actually, maybe not, because it's not a great British accent, to be perfectly honest with you.
What's the difference between a great British accent and a British accent?
It flows in and out. Sometimes it's English, sometimes it's not. It's in the ether.
I feel like you're just making things up now, but
it's not. I don't know. That character I find really interesting. I even don't love him in that role. And you know how much I love Wong.
Yeah.
You know how much I love
Wong.
Wong.
You're a big Wong fan. big Wong.
I am a big fan of the Wong.
Yeah.
Look, it's fine. I'll probably finish it out of, feeling like I have to. But for me, I'd much rather jump into what I think you're going to talk about next.
Which is, and I definitely am excited, was excited for this and definitely recommend, but did not realize how excited I was because as soon as I turned this on, I was like, giddy. I was giddy.
You were like, what? One more time?
Because I actually played the Fallout games.
Did you?
Yeah, I haven't played all of them, but I played Fallout 3 and I played Fallout 4. I never finished any of them.
You played New Vegas?
No, but that's apparently the best one.
Well, apparently so.
But I can't get it. I cannot find a place that has it. Is it PC only or something?
I don't know. I think it was PlayStation back in the day.
Anyway, I've never played that one, but that is apparently the best one.
¿Por qué no?
Maybe I will now. Maybe I'll have to search for it.
You got to find that shit.
Point being though, dude.
So you watched the first episode?
I did, and it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got the when you like can tell something is like really well produced, has good writers, and just like thought was put into it.
Not Three Body Problem.
Well, I don't know. Look, Three Body Problem is like a big, dense novel that was translated from Chinese. So like that sounds, Mandarin, I should say. That sounds difficult. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, and then go adapt. Like, I mean, that's a hard problem. Like these guys, D&D like hard problems, I guess. Like unfinished series.
Bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah. But this one is like, it's one of those things where it's like kind of like The Witcher, where it's like you have enough content, like source content, but it's not necessarily super linear and it's all through games. So like, what do you do? Like, there's no book, but there's a bunch of games. There's a bunch of good storylines. And it looks like John Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother,
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Is up for the job because like so far he's created a compelling narrative.
If anyone, he's the man for this. Yeah. Sci-fi is so his backyard,
and it's sci-fi, but it's also like almost like a 50s movie.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because it's like the whole ulterior timeline. I don't know if you know about Fallout.
Do they beat women in it?
It's worse. I don't
make me a sandwich, wench.
The reality though of Fallout is like it's like this alternative timeline.
Yes,
where your nuclear war happens in the 50s. And you deal with the fallout hundreds of years later. So like the apocalypse is actually the last civilization was the 40s or the 50s.
Yep.
Am I making that up? Or is it the 20s?
It's around that time, I think.
Yeah. and it's just a vibe, dude. It's just got got a feeling about it.
Society that gets put underground in these vaults.
Yeah,
who live like a weirdly
it's like the vault, and they're kind of like
sterile life.
Yeah, sterile life. They like stay in the vaults because there was this like build up to nuclear war, and like most of the population dies, but there's all these little vaults where there's like pockets of people that have been like cryogenically like. Anyway, I'll let you guys watch it, but it's got a very unique tone and vibe that's like bloody with happy music behind it, and I just fucking love it.
I love that.
I love it.
And I also love the cast for this. So Ella Purnell, she is in one of our favorite shows. She's in Yellow Jackets.
Talking about Snacky?
Oh, she's great.
Jackie?
Snacky Jackie. Yeah, of course. She's lovely. She's really great in that. She's very tasty as well. If you've seen Yellow Jacket, she is actually very attractive.
She kind of looks like a frog though. Sorry, like this is like
there is something about
this
her
is like not an insult. Like who am I ugly ass? What am I gonna say? She
reminds me of someone as well. She reminds me of another celebrity, very
Margot Robbie or something.
There's something of that. Maybe not Margot Robbie.
No, it's the other one. It's the one that looks like Margot Robbie from Sex Education.
Okay.
The main girl.
I'm thinking of the one who looks like Margot Robbie, who's from Not Another Teen Movie. There's so many of them.
There's like 3 of them, and I'm like, how are you the same person? But to your point, she has a look about her. She's beautiful. She's also a really good actress.
Yeah,
we should have started with that.
Yeah. I'm joking, but this does have a great cast. So the likes of, Zach Cherry, he was in your favorite Severance. He was one of the innies. And Walton Goggins not only is the best name in Hollywood, but he's also a fantastic actor. I think he's awesome. He's in so much cool
What is he
stuff.
in? Because he's
loads of TV shows.
And
Justified,
his character,
The Hateful Eight, Predators. Like, he's in so much stuff.
Dude, his character is phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah, his character is, I'm excited for it.
No Nose Guy. I forgot his name. He's like the Ghoul or something.
He's the Ghoul. It's one of the
He's the Ghoul. Yeah. Look, I'm genuinely super pumped to watch this show. I'm angry at myself. I started Three-Body Problem before I started this. Is this weekly coming out or is it?
It's all out.
Ah,
it's completely out. There's like 8 episodes.
Sorry, Three-Body Problem. I've got 4 more to watch. I'm so angry.
The crazy part about it, the special effects, I was like, I wasn't expecting that.
Sure. It's Amazon though, so.
Well, I just didn't even think about it. And they're really good so far. Yeah, they're really good.
Interesting. This got a lot of flack when the first trailer came out. Not flack, but people were a bit like, "Ooh, how do you adapt this? It's like such a video." It sounds like they've done well.
100% adaptable. Like anyone that said that is full, like they're idiots.
You're idiots.
You're all
idiots.
Yeah, internet dumb. Because like there's so much content. It's a beautiful like world that there's like a lot of themes to explore about like A, like how we got here to this place, and B, what it means for for humanity now, and it's got sci-fi, and that's firing, dude. Dune is like top of the box office. Like, I don't know. I am super high on this, and I've only seen 1 episode, but
okay,
I'm excited.
That's interesting. Oh, so you would highly recommend this first episode?
Yes,
highly recommend
to anyone that listens to this podcast. 100% yes.
Okay.
To anyone that doesn't, 100% yes. But it's sci-fi.
To anyone who doesn't, anyone who
no one cares.
Go and watch it. Now, I was going to talk to you a little bit. So we've gone way longer than we normally do on this section. So I was going to talk to you a little bit about your favorite book series.
Oh,
so I've in your apartment just finished the second book. However, as we've gone a little bit over, I'm going to be very quickly talk about something.
Go over, bud. We can make a long episode. Let's hear it.
I actually watched this week the Dave Chapelle new special that you were talking about a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was fine. I didn't love it.
The Dave Chapelle one?
It's the one where he says he's not talking about trans people anymore.
Dude, that's been out for a while. Yeah,
actually, it was
been out for a while.
Similar to the one
it was all right.
saw.
It was all right.
Yeah, similar to the one when we saw him live.
But he was better when he was live.
I think
his set was better live.
Yeah,
it was all right.
I think he was a bit lit when we saw him live. He was definitely.
Yeah. There was a joke where he was just like, I just remember him just like
wanking off his microphone.
his big. I don't remember, dude. To be fair, that was a while ago. I don't remember the jokes, but it was. He was better live. But so dude, Dave Chapelle. He's good. You got to see it. He
does a thing in this where he starts off. He says, "I'm not talking about trans people anymore. I'm going to talk about the disabled people this time." And like, I get what he's doing, and I get the point of it. And and you know what? Half I found funny, but growing up with a disabled person in my life, I can't laugh at disabled jokes. I just can't do it.
I guess that's
it's just who I am.
That's part of you, but like,
yeah, and
I laughed at that joke.
Okay,
look, like I think that like the line is if people laugh, that's always what I say about comedy. Right. You may not like it, but people laugh, they laugh.
Yeah, and honestly, like we've talked about this a million times. Like comedy is the final bastion.
It has to be.
You've got to be able to get up there and say things that people can't like feel they can say normally, because it's, it is that last bastion, like I say, but it's something in me. It's just one of my little things that I can't get behind. I don't know if that's just me.
I didn't love it, not because of that. Obviously, I just said I laughed at the joke. Mainly because like there was just a lot of quiet periods. Not Jimmy, what am I saying? Didn't he have a skit in that about Jim Carrey or something?
Yes, and that was a trans joke. He says he wasn't.
It wasn't that good.
And that
was like a big build up and I was like, for like a pretty half-assed joke. I remember thinking that, but overall, dude, I just want him to keep making stuff because
same
the GOAT. Like he's gonna, like, even if two are bad, one will be good. And he, like, it's just,
he needs to get over his trans thing now. Like, and I get it. Like, it's been a big part of his life for a little while. But come on, man, move on. Like now, I
just think he's just like I think he's doing it because they're still yelling. So he's like, I'll still talk about it. Like you know what I mean? He just doesn't give a fuck. Like,
sure,
he's one of those guys. Like, you're not gonna, like, he's gonna talk about what he's gonna talk about. You may not like it. You don't have to consume it, but he's gonna do what he thinks. I
don't care.
Like,
I don't like. For me, I feel it's God. This could come back to bite me. It feels like a bit of a storm in a teacup. Like,
it is.
His whole point originally was that he's behind the trans movement, and then it's gone way out of control, in my opinion. And I feel like he's now satiring his original jokes.
That's kind of his point.
Yeah, I get, and I completely get that. But I'm like, just move on from it. Like, you don't need to just build the hype for yourself.
Yeah,
try a different joke.
I'm sure he's tried. He's got many.
Anyway,
the point being, you're not going to talk about Golden Sun.
Not this week.
Oh, come on!
I'll talk about it next week.
Come on!
We've got a big week next week. We're talking. In 2 weeks ago, we've had a big week to talk about Civil War, so it's fine. We got to.
Fair enough.
So, guys, if there's anything we haven't talked about that you recommend we should talk about, please hit us up at podcastassemble or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. We will find you. We will call you out. We did actually have a recommendation to talk about the new book from the Red Rising series. What's the third one called?
Of the new trilogy?
Just the third one of so Red Rising, Golden Sun. What's the third
Morning Star.
Morning Star.
It's right there, bud.
It's right there. I'll be borrowing that in a moment. But I haven't read it yet, so we can't afford to talk about it. We did also have a friend of the show reach out and say that Civil War is fan-bloody-tastic.
They've already seen it. It came out like yesterday.
Yeah, right. So they've already been and seen it. So we will have talked about this by now, so you'll know our opinions. Guys, go back and listen to our episode already. You'll know our opinions. But in this state of life where we don't know, apparently it's very good, and I'm excited to hear about that. Send us news, send us memes, send us reviews. We love it when you do, guys. DL.
Yes.
I got a crow.
I got a crow.
Please splice that in, Matt. Do you want to preface our main topic, big guy?
It's the main topic theme.
Yes. Our main topic this week is not a horror movie. Although it has horror elements, as we've talked about. It is The Crow from, what is it, 1996? Four?
Yeah.
Pull this up on IMDb. But it is a famous film, cult classic, 1994, largely for, not the film's content itself, I would say.
Yes, and we'll be talking about what happens around the film for sure. We're going to be talking full spoilers because it's from 1994, guys. So it's a movie based largely off the four main books of James O'Barr's graphic novels. In the comics, as I mentioned before, a lot of different people take up the mantle of the Crow, but this one specifically is focused on Eric Draven, who is played by Brandon Lee, who, I gotta say, I really liked him in this. He was great.
I didn't really know him. Like, you introduced me to this movie as like a cult classic that I'd never even heard of.
Right.
And then I realized I did know him. Like, he was in a couple things in the 90s. Like, I feel like he was big before this.
I mean, he's a Nepo baby.
Yeah, he was in a few things before this, like pretty big. Not only that, it's by a director, Alex Proyas? Is that how you say it? Proyas?
I don't know, you'd have to make it Spanish.
I don't know how you say it, but iRobot.
Yeah,
pretty good movie in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s.
I remember really liking iRobot.
I did too, but it was like
he gets flack. Maybe
before
it's
Will Smith became like kind of annoying.
He's a bit of a joke now.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, DL, do you have a stupid plot summary for this?
I do. It's nothing special. If we're real, half Batman, half Hawthorne Heights, the goth revenge story where man becomes bird and bird becomes invincible. God, I don't know.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the
middle. Column A, little column B.
Yeah.
Mine's very simple too. Mine's just the movie that created the first Venn diagram, or the only Venn diagram, of 1,000 indie film students in the 90s and grunge kids.
True.
True. I can't think of any reason why those guys would connect in any other way.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to do like an Alex Baldwin joke there, but you didn't. I thought that's the Venn diagram. I really did think that.
You could put that in there as well.
That actually might have played.
That's somewhere that look, I really like the cast in this. There's I didn't know a huge amount of people in this. I did know Michael Wincott, who's top dollar, who's in Nope, he's in Westfield, he's in Ghost in the Shell. Outside of that, not a cast that I was overly familiar with. Do you want to talk about the plot?
I mean, net, the plot. net, if we're actually thinking
straight in.
It's literally like an emo 90s movie. Everyone's super like gothy black tones, the whole movie.
It starts off happy for at least 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds.
I don't really remember that part. But like, point is, it's a revenge story.
Yeah.
Like you see kind of like a
Eric Draven and Shelley, they're in love.
They're in love. Beautiful, like little
humans,
cute scenes, montage of cute moments, taking bath together, doing each other's hair, loving life, that kind of shit. And the
shit you did in the 90s, because there was no internet.
The shit that you montaged in the 90s for sure.
Yeah. And they live in this fucked up city, right?
They live in like Gotham City, dude.
That's what I was going to say.
Properly Gotham, and in a clock tower. Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, why do they have that window?
It's very Tim Burton.
It is so Tim Burton.
We're going to talk about
that kind of took me out of this because it was like so absurdly Tim Burton.
I think this was just a comic book movie from 1994. I think they didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
so long story short,
they get murdered.
They get murdered.
Yeah, they get murdered
on Devil's Night,
the day after Halloween or something.
It's the day before before Halloween. So
is that what Devil's Night is?
Where in this city, in this weird Gotham ripoff, there is a bunch of weird fires started for no reason, and crime runs a bit rampant, and no one can really stop it.
Yeah, and I don't really understand the business plan behind.
Neither.
Is it just they have massive insurance fraud?
What I do understand is that Eric Draven is in such a horrible murder that he gets brought back by the Crow. And yeah, he takes revenge on all these bad guys.
The basic premise, is the murder is so bad, and goes against the core of man so much, of him and his partner, that supernatural forces can bring people back to right
as they should
the world, right, to right the wrong. And that's what happens to Eric Draven. He basically, I thought he was going to be like a full zombie. He comes out of the ground, dude.
He just looks normal.
There's just like a crow on top of him. He's been dead for a year. There's a crow on top of his headstone. He just comes out just like fully just like ripped.
First
like
question.
As if he's been in the gym for the whole year, like shredding,
bulking.
Like instead of decomposing.
He took his time. He bulked and shred and bulked and shred.
Dude. The opposite thing is supposed to happen.
Well, let me ask you this though. My first question to you is like, why wait a whole fucking year? Like, why? Like, what's the significance of it? And I get it. They want to have it set on Devil's Night, whatever it's called. That's the film.
I don't know.
That's the plot of the film.
Maybe Devil's Night is the only night that you can be reanimated by
they didn't say that in the film.
I'm going to give them that.
Okay, all right. Well, this fits nicely, actually, into one of our many anthologies, which are basically jokes at this point, which is movies your dad loved back in the day, or something along those lines. Because my dad
loved this movie.
Loved this movie.
Really? Was this like his
soundtrack? Yeah,
this was like his first comic book movie.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Maybe you would have seen Batman.
He was big into the grunge scene, like at the time.
There you go.
Super.
I mean,
his
this
vibe.
is that.
Loved Brandon Lee. My dad grew up with Bruce Lee, so loved that sort of era of films as well. So it's seen as like a timeless cult classic, I feel, and it's got that vibe to it that people. Like I said, people lose their mind when a new trailer comes out for a new version of it. And I kind of prefaced this before, but I feel like everything around this film is almost more interesting than the film. Like, the whole point is that Brandon Lee tragically died while filming this. And the production itself was fraught with various injuries. You know, people on set got electrocuted, people got like burnt, things like this, like crazy shit was happening. Yeah. And people on set said that it was cursed or plagued. Yeah. So there's all this weird shit that happened in the background. And, you know, loads of rumors came out of it. Like, if you know anything about Bruce Lee dying, he died super young. There was lots of rumors that it was actually the Chinese mafia who killed him. And then people believe that same thing happened to Brandon Lee. So, like, the whole background of this is almost more interesting than the fucking film.
It's almost like the whole, like, dressings of this film and all the pop culture around it are what
Absolutely.
have contributed partly to its like massive appeal.
Cult status.
All that said, though, it's not like a bad movie.
No, not at all. I liked it a
It's a
lot.
bit cheesy at times, but that's just like the way comic book movies used to be made.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think my worst thing for this movie is going to be? And be honest, like straight up, you know me. There are 2 things I really dislike in movies.
Liam Neeson.
Okay, 3 things I really like. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
I don't really know what you don't like.
Okay.
You
Annoying kids.
True, you do, yes.
And narration.
There's
And what do we have in this film?
Is there narration?
Annoying kid narrating the whole fucking movie.
She does have moments, but it's not a lot, is it?
It breaks in every 25 minutes.
To be honest, dude, I was in and out of this.
Yikes.
I was in and out of it. I'm gonna be honest. I had like a hard time for the first like the first 2 times I tried to watch this, I kept falling asleep. Because it was like so dark. I was like, oh, it's nice. It's like, there's no blue light.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's putting me to bed. I just like love emo goth vibes, I guess. Anyway.
I mean, like, I like the setup of it. And I think the thing that most intrigues me about this is he comes back and his sole purpose is revenge. And he goes after the gang who raped,
for sure,
his wife
and the
fiance,
and the kid is annoying. I'll give you that.
different side story, but so his whole plot is to kill these 4 guys who effectively not only did they rape and kill his wife, they also are sort of like central to this whole Devil's Night thing, setting stuff on fire for no reason.
For sure on meth.
They're also wild the whole time.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, and there's a plot point about like taking drugs and he like sucks the drugs out of a woman. It's a bit weird. But then he finds out there's a bigger conspiracy, which is that this main Highlander-looking motherfucker.
What's up with his hair, dude?
He's orchestrating the whole thing, and I kind of like the escalation of that. It's kind of held back from you in the movie. So, like, his whole purpose of revenge makes him. Would you say it makes him as brutal, if not more brutal, than the killers themselves?
I mean, that kind of felt like what they were trying to do
with Eric,
but I didn't really agree with that. These killers were pretty terrible.
Yeah, they were.
They were like pissing on the grave of these people, and then when he came, he'd be like, "Yeah, I raped her." Like, you know what I mean? It was like he was like they were like proud of it.
Right.
So no, I never really felt like, and that going back to the start of the pod where you called me the anti-hero.
Yeah,
I don't think he's an anti-hero.
Okay.
I mean, I get that he is, but he's not Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano's killing people for money.
There are different levels
he's
of
coming
anti-hero.
back to redeem his, he's
Some people
barely.
think Batman's an anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like, there's different levels of it. Like,
how is Batman an anti-hero?
Because he beats people up in the middle of the night. It's America, so they don't have health care. So he's really fucking them over.
That's fair, dude.
Financially.
That's fair. They are financially ruined
for the rest of their lives. Now, we kind of touched on this, but like the thing I actually quite liked about this was like it's a weird mirror to like Gotham City, the way this is built. And it's got like Tim Burton vibes. Like the way you get these shots of the crow like flying over the city and these weird crow eye views of it. I found that really interesting. It was like, it wasn't good, but it was an interesting view of the city.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, and it was like, was it? It was like all like, what do you call them? Small sets or whatever?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what are those
miniatures
called?
as well.
Miniatures. That's what I meant.
Yeah, absolutely.
I quite liked the little zoom outs. It
Okay.
made me, I was like, at least it's full on. It knows what it is.
Sure.
I didn't mind.
It's not
that.
pretending.
It was just like, well, it just like it was all in. The parts I didn't really like, to be honest, were some of the haircuts. Honestly, most of the haircuts. There's a lot of bad haircuts in this. This guy's hair is way too long. It's flipping about.
The Highlander guy.
Both of them, Brandon and the Highlander guy. And the Highlander guy, I'm like, what's going on? Why do you have a sword?
It's very 90s. That's why he had a sword.
So 90s. It's a bit wild. And
I mean, top dollars, Michael Wincott's hair is just unnecessary.
It's so long. It's like, wake me up inside. It's like, dude, Michael Wincott, by the way, top dollar. What a name.
Great name.
He's the top bitch. Top dollar, top girl.
I mean, and that's what I say about, I quite like the escalation of it. Like you find out there is, but then also like, and some things, I'm not going to touch it too much because the comics are their own thing. They're a little different to this, but one of the things they do that I liked in this was have like a bigger bad in this, which was top dollar,
mm-hmm.
but also his like, I don't know, girlfriend, I think he's a sister at one point. whatever she is to him. She's into the occult, so she kind of gets the crow thing. And
she's like a bit like spiritual.
Yeah, she's like, if you kill the crow, you can kill the man, or whatever she says.
Which like she kind of just discovered somehow.
I think she made it up, and he was like, "Fuck it, that sounds good."
He's like,
"Well,
nothing else is working. Let's go pigeon hunting."
Because he's basically invincible. We haven't really talked about this. Yeah. So as the crow, Brandon Lee,
he gets shot multiple times.
Very cool. I like what they did with that character. Like it's very 90s, but they CGI his hands, fixing themselves and bullet wounds and whatnot. And he's obviously got the white paint, looks like a mime or whatever it looks like.
Cannot be killed.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
If that dude is walking you in the street, I would be terrified.
You know what? I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here.
Here we go.
Devil's
Night.
I don't think Brandon Lee's face is very scary
with the makeup.
Just
or
in
with
general.
Oh, he's a nice looking man.
Like I just don't think he just kind of has like a nice guy face.
But when he's got the makeup on, I feel like it's
dude, it didn't do it for me. That was the thing that pulled me out of this. He was too he was trying to be this like evil dark dude, and I was like, you look just jolly, bro. Like he's just like really jolly.
That's interesting.
Whereas I see Skarsgård, I'm like, that guy looks like he could play the emo kind of out there.
He looks like he's gonna kill someone.
Could kill someone vibe. Yeah. I don't get that from Brandon Lee in this, but
well, the interesting thing I found about this was, we kind of touched on this before we started the podcast, was I actually feel like this performance must have had some inspiration for Heath Ledger's Joker.
100%.
100%. There are literal scenes in this.
That's super astute. Yeah.
Yeah. That just pull from this. And I mean, I'm not saying like it's copied or it's in any way pulled. But
inspired.
For sure. Scene when, at the very end, getting way into spoilers here, when the crow is coming to find his last victim, he steps into like the bad guy's office and there's a long table full of goons with machine guns. And it's that scene out of the Dark Knight where the Joker walks in and he's does the magic trick with a pencil, and it's that swagger in and the way he holds himself. I feel like there's got to be inspiration there.
I totally see it, and I would almost like bet the house on it. Like there's enough similar, and it's like the Heath Ledger did his own thing in the Joker, no doubt, like that. But you can tell he saw this and was like, "Ooh, there's something here that I can use."
And I also think like some of the writing for the Dark Knight clearly was pulled directly from this. So there's a line in this where Top Dollar goes, "Caw, bang, bang, fuck, I'm dead." And I feel like the Dark Knight definitely pulled directly from this.
Can you shut up already? Just fucking stabs him through the throat. Some ridiculousness. It's a very dark movie.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that's what I liked about it. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Like, same. I didn't think that the 90s had that in it.
It absolutely did.
I didn't see that. I didn't expect it.
And I got to ask you this though: if this was filmed like 5 years later, maybe 10 years later, 2004, this would finish with Linkin Park at the end, right? This would be like, what I've done.
That's way too late. It would be one of the earlier albums. I actually was like, surely it's in the same period. You might actually get some Linkin Park.
Oh, I think Linkin Park was a little later. I think they were 2002, 2003, something like that. But the What I've Done, straight from that Transformers soundtrack. If it was
like early 2000s, yes.
That would, time. Yeah. It would finish with that. The crow flying
I actually think that came out when I was like in high school. So it'd be like way later.
Maybe.
But it'd be one of the earlier ones. Like, I could see Wake Me Up Inside. I could totally.
I think so too. That could absolutely finish this film. I think it's interesting though as well, because we're talking about Brandon Lee, who at the time was, he was an accomplished martial artist and an upcoming action star. I think he was in the wrong era. Whereas Bruce Lee had amazing films with amazing action scenes, the 90s, up until, 1999, up until The Matrix, they didn't have amazing action. It was just like throwing a fist and it looked like you were hitting someone in the face and they would just fall over. Whereas you hit 1999, you get The Matrix, everything's choreographed, it looks fucking amazing. Everything before that is a bit fucking lame. So it's like, I feel like he is an action star in the wrong period.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I also don't understand why the 90s just suddenly became like Miami Vice, like pun.
None of it looked good though.
Like, I don't understand why that is.
You ever watch 80s films?
Because there's wasn't there good kung fu movies in the 80s?
I feel like good kung fu movies came out of Hong Kong and came out of the East, but not out of the US.
No, but I guess my point is the inspiration was there. Why was it so bad? I don't know. It's a good point. What about old mate the cop. What's his name?
Oh,
Ernie
yeah.
Hudson as Albrecht.
Straight out of Ghostbusters.
Loved him.
I really like that
I
character.
think he was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Had no bearing on the plot whatsoever.
But like was just along for the ride.
Nor did the police.
Yeah, he was just along for the
all.
ride. And he's like, yeah, this is pretty normal. I mean, you are invincible and you are back from the dead and whatever. I'll just accept that.
He realized quickly.
Like he literally did not freak out at all.
Well, I got to ask you this then. So
Just like he's not fit for this movie.
Two questions, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so we're talking about Gotham. No, you're right. We're talking about Gotham, basically, right? That's what it is. And we're talking about a city that's completely unruly and run by mobsters. Two questions. One, why the fuck would anybody live there?
I mean, I guess,
Why are you living in this city?
you don't have
Just
a choice.
move.
Like you obviously don't have a choice.
Just go somewhere else.
But there's, with what
Metropolis is right next door.
money? With what money?
Like, just
dude?
move. And the other question is, what's the point of the police? Because they clearly have no bearing on anything and they are completely useless.
No, they're pretty bad. I mean, literally he's eating hot dogs half the time.
Yeah.
Not even donuts.
And
Those hot dogs are good though.
Buying them for the little annoying girl.
Dude, we do not need to talk about her. Her little 90s skateboard outfit. Like,
oh my God. It's terrifyingly bad.
It's bad.
So the thing I thought I was going to see in this and never really, I don't know if this is bad, like, not great writing or if it's, I don't know, just a function of its time, but I thought all of the guys, like, so the four main mobsters who killed Eric and his like fiance,
Yes,
Shelley, I thought they would die in ways that represented how they tortured them.
would have
So,
been smart.
if one had a
Yeah.
knife and one, I don't know, one had an anal.
So what is he
bead.
gonna just
I don't know.
butt rape
You know
one
what
of them?
like I don't know. Like
What
I
kind of
assumed it
movie
was.
you
I don't know.
want,
I assumed it was going to reflect the ways they got tortured in some way, but it didn't, and it sort of
Death by dildo? Is that what you want?
DVD. Bringing the DVD in.
Oh,
I don't know.
dude.
I thought like one of them had knives, obviously, like I say. Maybe one had a gun, but it just turned out that one of them was shooting up heroin or some shit in his room with Sarah's mom, and none of it was like it didn't feel.
That
connected.
was a gruesome scene though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they all did. I agree. It would have been cool to do something like that because they kept zooming in on the moment that each one did something.
Yeah,
so you
right.
thought it was, and like this is kind of a movie of the occult. So like you would think that like
he'd know.
that would be like he would
He'd
not only
know.
would he know because he touches them and then he knows,
Right.
but it would be like kind of like poetic justice that like
Yes.
they would do something like that.
And they kind of did that with the final big bad, Top Dollar. So there is a scene in
What,
this
burn him?
where
Yeah.
Eric touches Ernie Hudson's character, and Ernie Hudson's character had stayed with Shelley for 3 months after she'd been, all the horrible things had happened to her. And he takes on all of Ernie Hudson's pain from that. And then he
Oh yeah.
at the end, transfers it back into Top Dollar. They actually have a pretty fun fight. They find out that the way to kill the crow is to ironically kill the crow. I'm a crow. So they shoot the crow.
They
and
murder
then
the crow.
they can hurt Eric Draven, right? That's
Yeah.
how it works. So by
Yeah.
proxy, 5 minus 3 equals 12.
Probably
they can,
the crow like fly away.
Yeah.
At the other fight.
yeah.
That would
So
be-
they have this big showdown in a church.
of course they do.
Yeah. It's the 90s film. And yeah, he transfers all of the pain back into Top Dollar, and Top Dollar then he either kills himself on purpose or
Perishes.
not on purpose.
Perished.
He unalives himself, as they say on the internet these days. But this was liked, man. People love this film. And so much so that it garnered 3 sequels. So it garnered one in 1996 called City of Angels, obviously, unfortunately, without Brandon Lee. One in 2000 called Salvation, and one in 2005 called Wicked Prayer. Now, I was reading
I didn't see any of these. This is crazy.
The thing I like about this is I looked at them and they all have like a little spiel next to them. And the final one, Wicked Prayer, just says received overwhelmingly negative reviews. Overwhelmingly, not just negative
The
reviews.
Salvation is 4.9.
Overwhelmingly. So it can't be great.
What was the last one? You said The Crow,
Wicked Prayer.
Wicked Prayer 2005.
The Crow Wicker Man. That's a crossover I want to see.
I literally don't know anyone in this. Oh wait, look, David Borans. That guy's from Bones or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's an old 90s show, but early 2000s. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, this is it's an overall look. It's
I like this film. I had fun with it.
wouldn't watch it again.
But I'd need time. I don't want to watch it immediately. It's a bit emo and it's quite graphic.
So many other things are better, but
Yeah. Well,
I understand why those that like it would go back to it. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. Like I'm always going to go back.
Sure.
No, Lord of the Rings is way better. What am I saying? I don't know.
No, but I see.
Like
I see the point you're
Spider-Man
making.
3, like I'll go watch that
I see the
because it
point
was
you're
such a pinnacle part of like my youth, even though it's a bad movie.
Okay, so I told you at the very beginning, people losing their minds about this on the internet because obviously there's the new one coming out. But did this make you more or less psyched to see the new one?
I didn't even know the new one was coming out.
Okay,
but
it doesn't matter.
Seeing this, I am more psyched to see the new one.
Yeah, me, and
100%.
I think so too. Cause I watched this when I was way too young to watch this. Like I said, it was one of my dad's favorite films, so I watched it when I was pretty young. And I remember being a bit like, yeah, like it's all right. Like the action's not fantastic. Like I say, like it's very, even for the time, it was very 90s.
Yeah.
You know, old mate brings out his Highlander sword for some reason. And I was just like, all right, that's kind of cool, I suppose. But watching the trailer for the new one, I think if you put that modern sensibilities on it and make the action really cool, and some of the CGI is actually good too, I'll be like, maybe minus a few of those emo pieces, maybe get rid of Sarah. Great. I'm down for that.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy that like that people would hate on a remake of a cult classic.
Right.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Yeah, and it's not. I don't even know if it's going to be a full remake. I feel like it's going to be just a reinterpretation of different parts of the source material. Because the source material,
sorry,
like,
it's not even that it's like a comic book. Like, of course they're going to remake. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Of course.
You know, like, of course they're going to. If it's actually a comic book, like they always do that.
Yeah, and Bill Skarsgård is the man for that, apparently. So,
what
do you have any tones and themes for this, DL? Before we move on,
I didn't even think about it, but I guess
pain, loss, grief,
redemption. I mean, those
90s
are
grunge. The soundtrack's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Was there a?
If you're into your 90s grunge,
I was gonna say, was there like a with thumbs wide open, or am I making that up?
No, I don't.
It feels like it needed to be.
It's pre-Creed, I think.
Yeah.
So I think there's a Rage Against the Machine song in there somewhere. Maybe. Oh, but the bit we haven't talked about is that Eric Draven was part of a rock band in this.
Yeah.
And at one point, he's just playing a guitar for some reason.
Yeah.
And singing on the rooftops.
Because it's vibes.
It's so grunge 90s.
It's just vibes, dude.
Like, I'm surprised this wasn't cut into a music video as well.
Yeah.
It definitely should have finished with, I don't know, wake me up inside.
Like it was too
Something
early.
along those lines.
Too early.
You're right, it was. Okay. Shall we move on then, DL? Do you have a 3 best and a 3 worst?
I do. The 3 best would be cult nature around this film, like all the lore and everything. It's kind of worth watching. And I didn't know about it actually until after I'd seen it.
Okay.
But like when you see the scene, they actually have the scene in the movie. We haven't even talked about it where he dies.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's literally they film it. That happened.
It's early on in the film as well.
That happened. He dies, and they actually put it in the movie. Well, nowadays, I don't know if that would happen.
Well, I think they shut the film down. Didn't they do that with the Alec Baldwin film? Eric Baldwin.
Did that movie ever come out?
I don't think it came out. It's like
there you go. Like it's times have changed.
Right.
Point being, like there's just a lot of, I guess, history around this. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So that's positive.
Do you think it's cool that he died? That's your word.
I think
you said those words.
I mean, it comes for all of us. So it's nothing.
You're a bad man.
It's nothing new. No, I didn't mean that way. I'm just saying that I think there's a lot of history and film history around this film that's pretty cool. The second thing I would say is, soundtrack combined with like the emo, gothy 90s vibe and how dark it matched that goth vibe with like actual gruesome, dark stuff.
Yeah. Like
the crazy deaths. Like it was cool. Like I didn't know the 90s had that in it, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I knew.
I had no idea, and my eyes are opened. Number 3, I would have to say just like the ensemble of cast outside the main dude, and outside the kid. There was actually some really good actors. There was like quite a few, like all those baddies, like they had really good scenes.
Baddies.
I was like, oh wow, this guy actually is probably a character actor. Like he probably does Broadway stuff. I would look it up, but I'm too lazy.
I like that.
Yeah. What about you?
I like that. Much similar in terms of the fact that I like that dark overall tone of the movie. I think like for this, because the original comic / graphic novels is basically set around one man losing a girlfriend, and it's his grief at that loss, and him trying to have to work through his depression and be a normal person, and how he deals with that, and how long that lasts, and how you sort of have to put on a brave face every day.
Yeah.
And you can see that in this. And I think they got the tone of this really right.
Yeah.
Like if you did this in any way other than dark and sort of gruesome, I feel like you just miss wildly.
Yeah.
You know? I also had the clear influences of this on the R-rated comic book movies that have preceded it. So I feel like other comic book movies since then really lent into the darker elements, and I like that a lot. And I just thought Brandon Lee, you said the broadcast, but I thought Brandon Lee was great in this. I feel like he's a man out of time. If his charisma and how, you know, action orientated he is, if you put him in a movie now, obviously you couldn't, and sorry, that's really sad. But if he could have been in a movie now, I feel like he would have been awesome.
That's good.
Charisma he brings to the screen. What are your worsts?
My worst.
Let me guess. The 90s-ness.
No.
Oh, I had the 90s-ness.
I
thought
didn't
you were
mind
going to
it.
say so.
I didn't actually mind it.
Some of it, though.
The
outfits. Kid. I've got Sarah.
Some of the dialogue.
The dialogue.
Like the first battle and fight with like the black guy with dreads.
Yeah, right.
It was just so like.
And they basically stopped the movie to make a quip and then carry on.
It's just so like, ick. And then I would also say, honestly, and this is going to be controversial, I don't love Brandon Lee as like a dark. I already talked about it a bit.
Yeah, right.
I just didn't fully buy him.
Okay.
You know, I think it was nothing about his performance. I think it was honestly just superficial. Like he just doesn't.
He's just too pretty.
He's just too like pretty boy, goody. Like
okay,
not enough. You know what he looks like? He kind of reminds me of Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie
Prinze Jr. And it just, you know, that guy, he's not like a goth killer. You know what I mean? Like that vibe, I didn't get it. But
all right.
Controversial take.
Each their own, even if it's wrong. I had the 90s-ness of the movie again. Like I say, I had Sarah. She just annoyed me, especially the narration she had. She was the narrator of all people.
I don't remember that.
And I have to say this.
Yeah.
I don't think this film had enough Mark Wahlberg in it.
Yeah, well, they never do. Minus the Transformers.
Who would Mark Wahlberg be in this? He'd have to be like the top dollar.
Yeah, he'd be one of the criminals.
He'd be one of the goons, wouldn't
Depends on his career, like where.
Yeah, well, depending on what part of his career.
To be honest, it's early. He might be just one of the goons
in the criminal gang. That's what I mean. Like early career, one of the goons.
Yeah.
Mid career, one of the main four goons.
Yeah.
Peak career
would be comedy big goon.
Yeah, completely. Doing the what was the line that I called out before?
Whatever.
Car bang. Fuck, I'm dead. Imagine that in a Boston accent.
Very good. How about the jeweler, dude? That guy was like way too confident.
Wild.
The pawn shop guy?
Dude,
you are like very close to dying multiple times and you're still talking shit.
And you're giving this man so much shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
what's happening here?
Bad move, dude.
You shot him and he just carried on.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we do now is we talk a little bit about the critical reception of the film. DL, can you guess for me, firstly, the IMDb score for this?
It would be like 7.3.
It's a 7.5.
Is it?
So, I mean, that's pretty high, I'd say.
It's high for what it is.
All right.
Like, no,
it's
like
cult status though. So, like, it's got a lot of fans.
That's my point. Like, it's not really like a crazy good movie, but it's not bad. So I would have thought it was like a 7.3.
Okay.
But like, it makes sense that like the cult fandom has voted it up.
Sure. Okay. Then what do you think Rotten Tomatoes is?
I mean, that's hard. Rotten Tomatoes didn't even exist.
Wild.
When this came out, like really. So it's like
people since.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like it would probably be higher than I would have thought because it'd be people that wanted to go review this movie.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say 88.
Oof, it's an 84.
Oof.
Like where your head's at there though? Like you've really thought that through.
You gotta do your best. You got the data in front of you.
You've got to investigate this shit more so than Ernie Hudson did. He didn't really do anything in this film other than cheer everyone on. You can do it, The Crow. You got this.
He's like has no bit. He just like doesn't care about the murders.
And then he gets
he literally cares not.
Then he gets fired from work and he's like, all right,
whatever, dude.
I guess I'll go and help him with a shotgun instead.
Risk my life for this like dead guy. Whatever.
Then the letterbox score. It's always 3.6, but it's never 3.6.
3.6.
It's 3.7.
Oh wow.
Pretty close though. I feel like that's very letterboxed.
I mean, literally, it's 1 point above
the perfect average
score.
So then what we do is now we talk about our rating system, which comes the internet so binary. We just say, is this better or worse than the most average movie we know, which is Aquaman 2018, who was almost going to be in the remake. What do you think, DL? Is it better or worse than Aquaman 2018?
It's better.
Okay.
It's better. Purely because of the historics and the vibe of the movie. It's like, it is a really cult like classic. It's like a 90s movie. You know, the Aquaman isn't even like a cult classic of super ham
anything
of the like superhero movies.
Yeah, sure.
It's not even like a good representation of a bad one. It's just average. So I would say it's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, it's hard. Like, I don't want to rush back and watch this. Like, there's no part of me that's like, I'm so down to watch The Crow again. Like, give me more Sarah. You know what I mean? Like, there's no part of me wants that. But I did enjoy, like, some of the tones and themes. I liked some of the parallels to the Tim Burton stuff. Yeah, okay, let's say it's
the
better.
design is enough for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
The fact it's got, like, it has a thematic feel to it.
Yeah. Intentional.
That runs right through it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's a 7. You know, it's a 7. What do you say? 5? It's pretty average. So it's close to Aquaman, but we'll say it's better.
It's better. It's better for us, and we think you should probably watch it if you want to.
Yeah, it's almost a rating. Like almost a recommendation. I'd say
it's close. I recommend it higher than. Okay, that's what it is. I recommend it more highly. Watch this before you watch Aquaman.
There's so much shit on right now. Don't just pick something else. We watched it for you.
I think this would set you up nicely to watch the new Crow.
Yeah,
be a bit
that's
like,
not out
this
for
is
another
what
2-3 months. So you got some time.
You got time. All right, true or false, DL?
Yeah,
you're gonna have it anyway. I don't care what you say.
Fair enough.
According to graphic novel writer James O'Barr, he didn't like the casting of Brandon Lee originally, as he'd only seen him in Showdown in Little Tokyo from 1991. Is that true or is that false?
Sounds true. I feel for him.
It is true. He feared it would end up too much like a kung fu movie, but was thrilled when he first met Brandon on set in the makeup in the Crow outfit. I think that sounds about right. Like, I feel like you see him in a kung fu movie, you'd be a bit like, oh, I don't know. But then you see him in that crow makeup, you'd be like, I get that. I see what you're going for.
Vibes,
here. Yeah. I see what you're going for here. Okay, true or false, DL? Sarah was originally intended to have a more substantial role in the film, including finding Eric and Shelley. Is that true or is that false?
True.
You walked right into my trap. I did it. I did it. The rest of that was going to be, however, the team realized how annoying she was and cut her role down significantly.
So she was.
No, it's a false. I just made it up. That's what I meant.
I thought you meant like your trap was like you really, really hated her and you wanted anyway.
My trap was I made up a bad thing about probably a nice person who I don't know anything about. True or false? Yeah. The production didn't have the money or space to shoot a car chase scene. Is that true or is that false?
True, because there was no car chase scene. There was just the guys in the car together.
Well, technically there was one, but they shot it with miniatures because they didn't have the money to do it. So it is true. I find that super interesting.
Was there a car chase? Who was chasing them?
Kind of. It was when
because the other guy was,
one of the four was trying to get away in the car. It's kind of nonsensical. Okay, finally then. True or false, DL? James O'Barr, again, the writer, stated on the Crow DVD commentary that when he met, he just didn't jump in halfway through.
The whiskey's hidden, dude. It's okay. I've been there with you for a bit.
Oh, dear. When he met the movie's executives, they originally wanted to make this a musical starring Michael Jackson. Is that true or is that false?
I mean, a really bad idea. False?
Actually true. And he laughed uncontrollably, apparently. And it wasn't until he met now director Alex Proyas and saw Brandon Lee in the makeup that he took the film seriously. Look, guys, thanks so much for sticking with it. As always, we really appreciate it. I really enjoyed talking about this. I can't wait to come back and talk about The Crow 2024. I think
I'm excited for that movie now.
It's going to be a real different take on this. I'm kind of interested to see how the internet responds.
Gruesome. Well, you know how they'll respond divisively, as they always do.
Brutal.
Yeah. Until next time, team, a big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering this week's episode.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. A lot of cuts, a lot of entries in this one, so put his time in.
I got a crow.
There it is. If you'd like to be Matt to be a part of your podcasting team, get in touch on business at mbpod.com or head to mbpod.com to find out more about his services. If you want to hear his work, we're going to give him a little shout out here. From My Home to Yours is a podcast that he and his wife do, an expat repat podcast where they share their experiences and advice for others.
Very wholesome content.
To Ireland, from Australia.
You guys should check him out. Give him a 5-star review the same way you should give us a 5-star review, DL.
Yeah, they should. Yeah,
what should they do with that pod if they could?
They should share it. They should message us at thepodcastassemble@gmail.com or hit us up at Podcast Assemble on Instagram. There's a rebrand coming.
It's coming.
There's also a YouTube channel.
There's a YouTube channel. I never say this. You should find our YouTube channel. We are Podcast Assemble on YouTube. Hit us up. We love when you do. Hit us up with news. What is it? Memes, news, reviews. We will call you out.
Yeah, I think that's it. So we can out of here.
Thanks for sticking with it, guys. We do genuinely appreciate it.
And tally-ho.
Tally-ho, baby.